Health and fitness with David Hollywood.
With DS Sports. Is your sports club ready for a Christmas kit upgrade? Contact DS Sports. dssports.ie.
Hello and a very warm welcome to you. We've real variety on the show this week, so let's have a look at what's coming up. We're going to be bringing you health and fitness coverage from the worlds of endurance sport, juggling, pensions and palliative care. Maureen O'Brien from the Athlone Triathlon Club and the Tullamore Harriers is on to give us the latest on a special 12-hour endurance challenge taking place in Athlone. Every cent raised is going to the Irish Motor Neuron Disease Association and the Athlone Family Resource Centre. Westmeath woman Aoife Raleigh is on to teach us about the value of learning to fail, and she's doing it through juggling. You can catch her juggling workshop at the Esker Theatre in Tullamore next month. We talk about our future security and welfare with Laura Farrell from the Retirement Council of Ireland, and you'll hear about the new look website for the Children's Palliative Care Hub. CEO of the All Ireland Institute of Hospice and Palliative Care, Karen Charnley, joins us. First up, our reporter Jack Irwin has been getting the latest on a special 12-hour challenge taking place in Athlone to support the Irish Motor Neuron Disease Association and the Athlone Family Resource Centre. Here's Athlone Triathlon Club member and Tullamore Harrier member Maureen O'Brien with all the details.
Preparations are well underway and we're almost there after a couple of months of work, so we're thrilled.
Perfect. So we might as well just jump straight into it. So, Maureen, how is the fundraiser going?
It's actually going really well, and we're thrilled at the support that we've got. I mean, the response to the 12-hour challenge has been nothing short of phenomenal so far. We have 100 participants, solo athletes, relay teams, families and friends all taking part and ready to spin a run for the 12 hours straight. We currently we've a target of reaching 30,000 to spread across the two charities that we are raising funds for. And currently, as it stands today, we are 20,280. So the fundraising is actually going really, really well.
What's it in aid of?
So we decided on two charities. The first one is the Irish Motor Neuron Disease Association, IMNDA. And our second charity partner to reflect the local impact here in Athlone is the Athlone Family Resource Centre. So there was a personal decision, I suppose, in selecting the first charity, the IMNDA. My own father, who, as I said before in the show, is a Tullamore man and a long-standing member of the Tullamore Harriers, was diagnosed with motor neuron disease back in April of 2021. So we, I suppose, engage in the services of the IMNDA quite frequently, and our nurse Fidelma, who's fantastic support to us. We wanted to give back something there, and when I suppose I thought about this charity idea, that was the charity that was first and foremost in my mind. And the second one then, the Athlone Family Resource Centre, as I said, we wanted to have a little local impact on that. Athlone Family Resource Centre does vital work and provides critical services to families in need across the town with very limited funding. And they have an extraordinary reliance on their volunteers. So we wanted to help them improve their efforts for the locality. And
then what is happening on the day?
So on the day, as I said, it's called the 12-hour challenge. So we are going to start, we have registration up at 6 a.m. Our host is the Athlone Community College. So our registration's open at 6 o'clock, and at 7 o'clock we will start cycling and running. And both, as I said, solo athletes and relays will start from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. So myself, for instance, I take part in the solo spin. So I have my bike set up on a turbo trainer, stationary bike, and 12 instructors will take to the stage every hour, and they will give a turbo session or spin session. Runners then will take in the Greenway, Athlone Greenway, and also Athlone Regional Sports Centre fitness track as well. They can do anything up to 6.7k all the way down to just a couple of 100 metres if they want. They take that in the 12 hours, so go out every hour, and then when they come back they can rest for whatever length of time before the next hour. Or we have lots of people actually doing relays, and we have relay teams of up to 10 and 12 people. So people are just coming for the hour, they're participating, they're donating to charity, they're taking part, and they're doing what they can. So it's a big variety throughout the day. but essentially it's a 12-hour challenge, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
And how's your own physical condition going into it? Are you feeling confident?
I am, I have to say, I am. I mean, training, like every athlete will understand where I'm coming from, this hasn't been streamlined. My own dad, unfortunately, took a little bit of a downhill turn some weeks ago and ended up in hospital. So I was in and out with him, and obviously a little bit worry and stuff. So I didn't do as much training the last couple of weeks as I'd like to. But as I said before, I suppose as triathletes, we would train all year round anyway. So I would have a good standard of fitness, all year round. And it was just a matter of sitting on the bike a little bit more than I would normally. And that's set up here in the kitchen. So last night, for instance, I was on the bike for 3 hours. I got off for a couple of minutes for a drink and got back on. So it's good training.
Yeah, you definitely need to be in serious physical shape going into it. And so where is the event, and can people come, and can they come and support?
Absolutely, and we would love if people would pop in on the day and support us, and obviously donate as well, to help us to get to that 30,000 if at all possible. So as I said, the event takes place in the Athlone Community College. You can access that by putting the air code into Google Maps. But you can also come as far as the Athlone Regional Sports Centre, and you will see our athletes run around the sports centre. You can access the school from the Greenway as well, from the sports centre. So we would love for people to come in. We have plenty of food that's donated to us by local business around Athlone. The hotels have been incredibly supportive. And we also have an ice cream machine there, and we'd love to be able to give ice cream and flakes out to any of the kids that come in. We have lots of stuff going on. We have a DJ that's going to be there for the day. There's going to be lots of fun, music, and just a bit of crack. So we'd love for people to join us, for any part of the day. Even if you're in Athlone, from Tullamore, or anywhere, and you're just over for an hour down Golden Island, what people do all the time, pop in, see us, and support this cause. It would be fantastic.
Yeah, no, look, sounds like a great occasion. And then just for anyone that is looking to potentially maybe wanted to join the club, looking to become a club member, just I suppose, what would you say to them? What is it like being a new member joining the club?
Oh, wow. I have to say I joined Athlone Triathlon Club in the middle of COVID, I suppose, and when my own kids, their activities were a little bit lessened, and the going to and going from and all that kind of stuff was a little bit less. And it was the best thing that I've ever done, because it has not only just, enriched my life in a physical sense. I'm healthier. I have a better outlook. I'm more physically able and stronger. But I have just met some incredible people. And our club, we actually won Club of the Year, Triathlon Club of the Year in 2024 on the Triathlon Ireland Awards just gone by. And that wasn't by mistake. We worked really hard to make our club very inclusive. I'm the secretary of the club at the moment. We have a huge array of memberships, people from do multiple Ironmans throughout the year, to people who are learning to swim and only walk around the track. So we include everybody, and we applaud and support everybody. So, we would love if people would come and join, give it a go. See, you don't have to swim, bike and run. You can just swim, you can just bike, or you can just run. You don't have to do all three, but maybe you would like to in the future. So I would say we're Tuesday nights at the AIT track, 2 Sports track, every Tuesday night from 7 to 8. Come there, give it a go, try it out. Contact us through our social media page, and absolutely, yeah, we'd love for people to join and see what we're all about.
100%, Maureen. And then again, you may have said it at the start, but just how much has the club raised so far in terms of the fundraiser?
So currently today, as I said, we are €20,280 that we have raised for the charity. We have an ambitious target, which we thought was ambitious at the start, I think, for 30,000, but 100% I think we are going to get that. We are going to aim for it, and we are going to get it. We have some incredible people doing some, amazing fundraising for us. And also the support then, as I said, from the local businesses around Athlone have been incredible in supporting us as well. So I have no doubt that we are going to reach that 30,000 target. If anybody would like to donate, they can log on to our website, which is www.12hourchallenge.ie. And there's a I donate button there. They can just click that and they can donate straight to that page as well. So that'll be super.
Sounds good, Maureen. Thanks for chatting with us today.
Great, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for the support as well from Midlands 103. It's been incredible.
Good luck at the weekend, and we'll chat to you again soon.
Thank you.
Next, we're learning how to fail through juggling.
Health and fitness.
With DS Sports, the teamwear specialists. Experience lightning fast delivery and unbeatable service for all your sporting needs at DS Sports. With gear ready in as little as 5 days. Contact 085 87 15 311 or info@dssports.ie.
Midlands 103.
Next on Health and Fitness, we're turning our attention to juggling and what it can teach us about embracing failure. In this spirit, I'm very glad to say we are joined by Westmeath woman Aoife Raleigh. She is a circus arts performer and teacher. She's hosting a workshop in the Midlands. So if you're interested in this off the back of our conversation, get onto the Esker Arts Theatre website, and tickets are still available for that class. Aoife joins us now live on Health and Fitness. Aoife, thanks for taking our call.
Not at all. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, juggling and what it can teach us about embracing failure. I really like the idea of this, but you're going to have to talk us through it. How does this work? What's the idea you're getting at when you say that?
Well, the thing with juggling is you can't learn without dropping. It's the number one thing you're going to do. So there's a lot of picking the ball up and starting over again. I've been working with this idea of, how can we celebrate the failure of it and work with that. And, every time we fail, we get a bit closer. We analyse what went wrong and get a bit closer to doing it right. And it's to try and change the idea of criticising yourself whenever the ball drops on the ground, and change that idea around and celebrate it of okay, I made an effort, I did it, I'm getting a bit closer to where I want to be. And so then it's kind of, it's a celebration of failure while learning to juggle.
And what it also does, I suppose, as well, is it helps us develop an ability to value incremental progress rather than trying to take giant leaps forward. Like, to take an example that we covered on Health and Fitness recently was looking at the idea of New Year's resolutions. And oftentimes our failures in that context are based out of being totally over ambitious or putting way too much pressure on ourselves. Whereas if we can see the virtue in taking small steps forward, the bigger picture can sometimes take care of itself, which is not dissimilar, I suppose, to the method of learning juggling.
Yeah, you can apply it to all sorts of things. And in the class, we break we're aiming for the 3-ball cascade juggling, which is your classic juggling pattern, which you imagine. But we don't go straight for it. We break it down into a lot of different exercises, which we do alone or in pairs, and it kind of moves it along and keeps the self-criticism to a minimum.
That's really interesting. What about your own perspective then? Do you enjoy teaching something like juggling? Because obviously I'm presuming as a circus arts performer you have a pretty decent level of ability in this respect. But when it comes to teaching, you're dealing with people who are starting from zero often. How do you find that process yourself?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I have over the years developed a number of different methods which work with different people. But there's always new with different people that you meet, and different people learn in different ways. And so it's always brings, you think you have it cracked and you're like, okay, this is my method, but it's all different with every different group.
That's interesting. So do you find yourself trying to pick up on cues in a group or with a particular person, and you can dial into maybe specifically what they need to hear and receive to be able to make that bit of progress?
Yeah, exactly. It really, you can, sometimes you fall into, I guess, a bit of autopilot, but I think whenever you're teaching somebody something, it doesn't work if you do it in autopilot. You know what I mean? It keeps you there in the moment and with this person and whatever they need to hear in that. You draw on your toolbox and hopefully you can pull out the right bit of information in the right way to help them crack it. Okay,
that's cool. So just to go back to the class or the workshop taking place at the Esker on the 15th of February, the objective here is that someone who picks up a ticket should be able or might be able to walk out of the theatre in Tullamore after the workshop, being able to do a 3-ball cascade. That's sort of the small built-in objective, apart from sort of enjoying the learning process and that type of thing.
Yes, yeah, that's what we're aiming for, or at least that for them to be well on the way. Sometimes it can happen where you get so much information on the day that it's hard to process it all, but they will definitely be able to get it if they go back to it after a little break.
Okay, good stuff. Is there anything else about the class that you want to talk us through, or what people might expect when they show up? Essentially, you're going to be taking it step by step, and it's going to be baby steps. Yeah.
I'll be providing the juggling balls, and we're going to start from one ball and build it up over the course of the hour to being 3 balls. And there's a whole lot of different angles and methods used to try and get you there. And we'll be also doing work with other people, so we'll be a chance to meet people. And I think the workshop will suit anyone who's over, say, 8 years old. And I think some people, it might be like an adult and child activity. But the children should be accompanied with an adult. Yeah.
I think we all advise that children aren't swanning around the town on their own at the age of 8 or 9 at any juncture. And let's look at things more broadly, because look, we've got you on the Health and Fitness Show talking about juggling. Some people might be kind of thinking that this is more a case for Claire O'Brien's arts show Encore of a Thursday evening, yesterday evening. But I suppose what I'm getting at here is it can be part of quite a sort of health and fitness orientated lifestyle. The circus arts, it's physical, it can be cerebral. Like, what is it about juggling and this type of stuff that you enjoy so much?
Yeah, it's really interesting, like what you're kind of hitting there, because it is art. It's also physical, and it's the place where those two meet. It's not quite sports. It's not kind of more competing with yourself. So I know for some people, competitive sports is really what drives them, but for some people it really isn't. So I think that for me, I find it addictive, just that challenge of why can't I do it? And it keeps me fit without being repetitive of, like, as soon as I learn one trick, that unlocks another trick, and I can keep progressing like that forever, and your skills develop over time as well as your fitness. So I think, it keeps me engaged mentally as well as physically.
That's really interesting. Talk us through the kind of stuff that you're doing professionally then over the course of a working week, or I suppose over the course of a couple of months. From what I understand, you could be at any point in the country picking up a gig, and the kind of the variety of stuff that you would perform is quite broad.
Yeah, weeks are different. It's not the same stuff every week, but the year does have a certain kind of pattern. The weekend for St. Bridget's Day, I'll be performing in Clane and Kilcox for the St. Bridget's Festival. I'll be doing a circus science show on one of those days, and then a hula hoop act on another day. So, you kind of have to be diverse in your skills to be able to pick up lots of different types of work. So I have a number of different circus skills that I kind of lean into, from acrobatics, hula hooping, stilt walking, foot juggling. And a bit of handstanding and that kind of thing. So, it kind of all the different things together and make up the medley of it. And I enjoy it now. Like at the beginning, I find it a bit stressful because you don't know what's going to happen next year or anything, but you kind of, I guess, relax into it whenever you've been doing it for a few years, and the work does come in and people get to know who you are, and you get to travel all over the country and meet interesting people, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting. That's an interesting point regarding developing a sense of security about the work you do, knowing that it will be there the same way it was the year previous. How long have you been using circus arts as your main source of income, as ultimately like your profession?
About 10 years now. I was quite a late comer to circus, a late starter. I had already finished college and I was working for a number of years before I fell down the circus rabbit hole, and it just started as a hobby.
How did you get into it actually? What was the penny drop moment where you go, I really like this?
Oh, I got into it. I was living in Belfast, and to meet new people, I joined the samba band. And in the samba band, you got paid like whenever you did gigs, and you got paid more money whenever you played on stilts. So I was a student at the time. I said, okay, I'll learn stilt walking. And so, yeah, that was like coming alongside then whenever I became a professional, and just I kept it up. And I was quite clumsy, so it was just interesting to me about like trying to get more control over my body. And like people who do meditation, I find it really, I guess, mindful or meditative to be like, okay, I really can't think of anything else in the world, or I'm going to drop the ball, or I'm going to, lose my balance, or whatever it is. So it was just a real addictive thing for me.
You've said a few things, I think, which is a nice way to wrap up our chat on. The first of which is that you found yourself as a clumsy person and you found this really interesting, and you came to it late in life. So if people listening are saying to themselves, look, juggling isn't for me, I can barely get round the front room without knocking something over, or I've never done it, I'm in my late 20s, I'm in my early 30s, I've just hit 40 or whatever it is, there's no exclusionary profile or element to a person that would cut them out of being able to learn juggling on this Saturday morning in Tullamore?
No, the main thing, I think it's a great way to kind of get a bit of mastery over that. And it's about pushing yourself outside your box, I guess, in a way of like, why can't I do this? And is this something I could master? And that will give you a great, I don't know, dopamine hit, a bit of a buzz, if you can get it, and it's like, that is what we're after. I guess that's the dopamine in a good way, and it makes you happy, and like you've succeeded in something, and it does help you with coordination and helps your brain be active as well. So I can't pick it up enough.
So if you like the sound of what we're talking about, then get onto the eskerarts.ie website, book tickets for the 15th of February, an introduction to juggling with Aoife Raleigh. Aoife, you've been great with your time. Thanks for joining us on Health and Fitness this evening.
Amazing. Thanks so much for having me on.
Let's talk about investing in our health and welfare for when we're older next.
Health and fitness
with DS Sports, the teamwear specialists. Experience lightning fast delivery and unbeatable service for all your sporting needs at DS Sports, with gear ready in as little as 5 days. Contact 085 87 15 311 or info@dssports.ie.
Midlands 103.
Often on Health and Fitness, we like to shine a light on issues affecting older people. And here's a small spin on the issue for this week. We're shining a light on those who are going to become older people eventually. Touch wood, that includes you, myself and everyone else listening. The Retirement Planning Council is calling for younger people to put plans in place for retirement. I'm very glad to say they join us on Health and Fitness this evening. Their CEO is Laura Farrell. Laura, thanks very much for taking our call.
Thanks, David, for having us.
Not at all. Just in case people haven't come across the RPC, the Retirement Planning Council of Ireland, you're celebrating 50 years in operation. Tell us about what those operations are. What do you guys do?
Sure. So this is our 50th year in existence. We're a not-for-profit charity, and essentially at our core we offer a programme to organisations and individuals to help them prepare for retirement. We're not just looking at the financial piece, we're looking at it in a holistic sense. So taking into account the person's overall well-being and how they plan to design the next phase of their life. Okay,
good stuff. And as part of this, the 50th anniversary, you're taking the opportunity to underline the importance of putting a plan in place for retirement in the future. I suppose there's a few key issues around here is that we're all living a bit longer as well. So that phase of our life is going to be more and more important, and it's going to last for longer ultimately than historical trends.
Absolutely. And one of the things we're seeing as an organisation is that companies are increasingly coming to us and asking us to talk to their people earlier in their career, so not right up against retirement. There's a realization, there's a great book out there, The 100-Year Life, that the traditional model is outdated. The idea that we go from education to work to retirement as a life model doesn't really fit when you're looking at the kind of longevity we're now facing into. So we see a future where people step in and out of retirement, and to some degree the word retirement itself may be retired, you know. And so if that life is that much longer and you hope healthier, then you have to plan for that extended period of retirement or semi-retirement, whatever it might be, you know.
That's really fascinating. And I suppose one of the obstacles or the challenges that you probably come up against and companies come up against, and we all as individuals might meet as well, is that the younger we are, the worse we are at addressing these issues and dealing with these issues. I suspect that's one of the big stumbling blocks structurally.
Well, I think what it is perhaps is, I mean, the way I always look at it, in your education, you're kind of preparing yourself for the work life, you know.
Sure.
And in your work life, if you're taking the longer view in terms of your probable health and longevity, where is the bit where you're preparing for the phase after a permanent work life? You know, it's something that we perhaps aren't thought to consider early enough. So like for strategies for young people, the first one we always kick off with is start saving early. The earlier you start, as is obvious, the more comfortable your retirement will be and the more closely your income in retirement will resemble the income you had while working.
Okay. So, and again, that's from this very moment onwards. No time is too soon to really get that ball rolling. Absolutely. Regardless.
Absolutely, yeah. And the other key strategy that we always encourage people to look at when they're younger, and actually all the way through their career, is as far as is possible, build yourself up a 3 to 6 month living expenses fund that's easily accessible. So if there's unexpected financial setbacks, if you have to step out of work for a period of time for whatever reason, this prevents you from dipping into your retirement savings for an emergency. You know, so that's also another strategy that we very much encourage.
Okay, very good. Talk us through anything else that you've got there in terms of tips that you can give us.
Sure. Practical budgeting and controlling discretionary spend. Now, I know, you know, people give out about spending on things like avocados. I'm not sure why that became so unpopular, but it's there. My sins are vitamin drinks and coffee. And when I tot up what I spend every day on those two items, it's kind of frightening. So it's not that you have to live the life of a monk, but you do have to try and be savvy about where your money is going. And just even small lifestyle adjustments can help you save more for your future.
And in terms of that, like it's good for yourself, say, that you've got the insight that stuff like coffee is a regular financial drain for you, and probably part of the challenge for all of us is to sit down and put it on paper and acknowledge what it is that you're actually dripping your money away on, so that at least you understand what's happening, and then you can make your decisions thereafter.
That's it, and that's the whole practical budgeting thing. I mean, when the return bottle scheme came in, I had no idea just how much vitamin C I was consuming in various types of soft drinks. And, you know, it was weird. It wasn't me being savvy and budgeting. It was me realizing I'm producing a huge amount of plastic and it's all costing me money. So it's actually sometimes if you just sit down and go through what your money is actually being spent on, it can be very insightful. And you can find savvy little ways to just dial down the discretionary spend without feeling like you're not living life, if you like.
In terms of our health and our personal welfare as well, like when we become older, the difference between, I suppose, being secure in your living situation and actually being exposed in your living situation, that gap can be quite small. So taking steps earlier on in your life can ensure that you've got that buffer zone that, as you say, when you transition from your full-time working life into whatever that might look like through our 60s, 70s and beyond, that sense of security, it can be the whole picture in terms of your living welfare when you're older.
Absolutely. And the earlier you kind of take advantage of everything that is in front of you, be it an employer's retirement plan that you can plug into and make contributions to, just even constantly focusing on increasing your earnings where and when you can, whether it's in your main career through a side hustle, because all of those earnings are ultimately a source for contributions into your pension fund, and avoiding the kind of lifestyle inflation that sometimes comes when you do increase your pay, whereas you feel you need to increase your spend, and that can be something that you can manage more tightly with due consideration. And I think a lot of it is about being financially literate, so trying to educate yourself as much as you can. There's a huge amount of resources out there, and also setting yourself clear long-term goals, because what we're seeing increasingly when companies engage us to do programs with them, they're not just talking about us in the context of financial well-being for their staff, they're talking about their staff's well-being overall. And if you have some control and agency over your finances, and you feel that you have a sustainable long-term goal set out with respect to your finances, that takes a lot of stress out of life. And stress, as we know, can have a huge impact on your physical well-being and your mental well-being. So there's a method to all of this and a reason behind all of it. You're not just saving for the sake of it, you're saving for your future self.
I understand as well the RPC is kind of counselling that obviously budget for yourself financially as best you can, but also budget your own lifestyle with a health lens over it, so that you're not going to live through your life and build up health consequence costs when you do become an older person. So being health focused over the course of our 30s, 40s and 50s, it can be a massive money saver in the future.
Absolutely. And one of the key tenets of our program, when we deliver for organisations to their mid-career people, we have a huge focus on well-being, nutrition, healthy lifestyle. For obvious reasons, if you can take control of those matters in your kind of middle years, your long-term prognosis and outcome can be a lot stronger. So things, what you can do to control blood pressure, to avoid heart disease, to improve your sleep, to ensure you're taking in good nutrition, and even the finance piece as well feeds into the health, because if you are financially secure, in the long term, research proves that it leads to better health outcomes by reducing stress. And it also enables better access to healthcare when you are older and may need more healthcare support.
Yeah. Laura, if employers are listening or indeed individuals are listening and they'd like to learn more from the Retirement Planning Council, how would they look you guys up, find you or get in touch?
Sure. Probably the best thing to do would be to go to our website, rpc.ie. There you can find out about the different programs we do. You can also book a course directly online, or you can just go directly into our resource section, which is a plethora of material from across the globe that is very much aimed at people who are taking that longer term view. We're there, and anytime, happy to take a call. And we are open to both organisations and individuals alike. So the website's probably the best source of information in the first instance.
CEO of Retirement Planning Council of Ireland, Laura Farrell. Happy 50th anniversary for the council.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for taking the time to talk to us on the programme.
Thank you.
The Children's Palliative Care Hub has been updated and improved. We'll be talking about the value of palliative care in our communities next.
Health and fitness
with DS Sports, the teamwear specialists. Experience lightning fast delivery and unbeatable service for all your sporting needs at DS Sports, with gear ready in as little as 5 days. Contact 085 87 15 311 or info@dsports.ie.
Midlands 103.
Part of the human condition is that at some point in your life, a loved one or yourself will require the need and the care of a hospice and palliative care in this country. They've just updated their website. That's childrenspalliativehub.com. That's the All Ireland Institute of Hospice and Palliative Care. Their CEO is Karen Charnley. She joins us on Health and Fitness this evening. Karen, thanks very much for taking our call.
Thank you very much, David.
You guys have updated the website. Talk us through the changes and what the idea was behind them.
Yeah, so we've redesigned the website to ensure it meets the needs of parents and families of children and young people with palliative care needs across the island. So working with our member organisations and health and social care professionals and with parents of children as well, we've worked to redevelop the site. So we've ensured that the content's up to date, that they were linking to condition organisations and support services, that we've updated the guidance that we give to parents, and we've also updated the stories section. So we've a great section on the website which has videos and written pieces of information about people's experience of accessing services. And I suppose what we're trying to do with the site is break down some of the fears of accessing services and really show the wide range of services that are available to families.
Karen, you know firsthand how important it is, the work that people do when they're in palliative care and hospice care. And by the sounds of it, the hub is a great resource in terms of everything that you've outlined there. Was the motivation coming from ultimately a place where you want families who are going through this process in their lives to have to do as little researching and work as possible to find the support and guidance they ultimately want and need?
Yeah, what we wanted it to be is a portal side, so that the families can go into the website, find trusted sources of information, but also then be directed on to further sources of information, be that condition organisations, support organisations that support with areas such as accessing benefits and grants and that kind of thing. Also, there is a lot of information out there on, using Google and the like, but what we wanted to do is kind of pick some of the great sources, so make it easy for families to find that great information.
Yeah, it makes sense. Obviously, there's such a wealth of information out there, but it can be very hard to parse the important and the helpful from maybe the stuff that's not so well researched or better supported. And it's great to have a mediator in between, like the All Ireland Institute of Hospice and Palliative Care. Talk us through what the Institute does on a general basis. We've got a strong flavour of it in terms of the work with the hub. What else does the Institute do?
So we're a leading organisation, and we've 28 member organisations would include hospices, health and social care trusts, charities and universities across the island of Ireland. And we work with our member organisations with the aim of ensuring that excellent palliative care is available for everyone at the right time and place across the island. So we're working with our members, looking at research, policy, practice, education, engaging with people with life-limiting conditions and their families, because it's very important that people have the opportunity to shape services, and developments as well. So we have the palliativehub.com as one of our resources, lots of information and resources there, but we also have lots of information on our website as well.
You mentioned as well with the hub that there's stories and testimonies there from people who've gone through that experience. How important is that kind of, peer anecdote for other people who are seeking to get their head around and understand the moments that they're living through?
Yeah, we think that personal stories and experiences are really the best way of people understanding services. So the section on the children's site about your stories is really a key site and is one of the more popular areas of the site. So people can see, people maybe talk about their fears, talk about the worries, but then talk about how services have supported them and how they've navigated those services as well.
What about from your own personal perspective? What's your experience like heading up the All Ireland Institute of Hospice and Palliative Care? What do you get out of it from a personal and professional perspective?
That's a good question. I suppose from both personal and professional, it's great to be able to work in an organisation with the wider team and our member organisations all aiming to improve that experience. So aiming to put people at the centre of palliative care and really ensure that services are there to support people when they need them most and their families as well.
So talk us through from, say, your perspective. You're chatting to us about the children's palliativehub.com sort of website update and facelift. What other kinds of work would you do on a day-to-day basis in your position?
Well, actually, at the moment, we're starting to redevelop the Palliative Hub Adult, which is for adults people with life-limiting conditions and their families. So we're looking to do a similar relaunch of the site over the summer. We were also looking at plans for Palliative Care Week, which will take place from the 7th to the 13th of September this year, and looking at how do we raise awareness of the valuable services that palliative care services often offer, because at times people miss out on those services because they maybe don't fully understand them, and they hear the name and they think it's just there for the final days, final weeks of someone's life, but actually people can be in receipt of palliative care services for a longer period of time, and actually at times they can come in and out of services. So it may be that they need support with symptom management, managing things like pain, for example, so they may access the services, get that under control, and then may not require those services for a while. So just trying to raise awareness. I suppose another part of my work, just one final area, is supporting research in palliative care. So to ensure that services are, the palliative care is as effective as it can be. So that's another area I've been looking at today.
Okay, very good. In terms of the research side of things, then, is it about sort of consulting with various services across the country, finding out what they are meeting in terms of demand, what they have in terms of resources, and then trying to come up with, say, policy and strategy after those kinds of conversations?
Yeah, well, it is around that, but it's also around looking at how services are delivered and the different models of service delivery, and could they be further improved and be as effective as they can be. So looking at kind of clinical research as well. And I suppose as an organisation, we link in with researchers, we link in with clinicians, and we support them with accessing funding, much needed funding, but also ensuring that their research is guided by people with life-limiting conditions as well.
It's great. You've got that insight from the people who are living through the services, as it were. It's so multifaceted by the sounds of it. I'm grateful that you've actually found the time to chat to me, considering everything that you guys have got going on at the moment. A final question then is maybe a tribute to those who do provide palliative care and hospice care around this country. It always blows my mind when I come across people in care roles, how selflessly they work and ultimately how talented they are at their jobs.
Yeah, we're very lucky on the island of Ireland. We've fantastic hospices and specialist palliative care services. Obviously, there's always room for further investment within them, but we're blessed with those services.
childrenspalliativehub.com. It is the new look website that's been launched to support families of children with palliative care needs. You've been listening to the CEO for the All Ireland Institute of Hospice and Palliative Care, Karen Charnley. Karen, thanks very much for being on Health and Fitness with us this evening. Cheers.
Thank you.